Hello, everyone. Sherry Dotter, your dysgraphia consultant. What do you see? What do you notice? Today we're going to talk a little bit about visual-spatial relationships. Have you ever asked these questions of a student? What do you see? What do you notice? Have you ever listened to what they've answered when you ask the two different questions? Are they the same? Are they different? Take a few minutes, pause, look at that flag. I want you to answer the two questions, then come back and let's talk about them together. What do you see? What do you notice? How did the questions lead you down a different path in answering these questions? What other questions could you put in your repertoire to get a similar result? Let's take a moment and analyze this flag. We have egg cartons. Some of them are full dozen, some of them are half dozen. We have a 2.5 dozen carton that's colored blue. We have something that is making the stars on the blue. What's the ratio between the red cartons and the white cartons? How are they held together? What do you see now? What do you notice? When we look at handwriting paper, we can ask a student these same questions. It could be the very first time the person is seeing that kind of paper. What do they see? What do they notice? If you ask a kindergartner versus a fifth grader, you're going to get a vastly different response. It's your job to listen. As you look at the aspect of visual-spatial relationships, many responses could appear. As occupational therapists, we are uniquely qualified to analyze these tasks and create modified methods of using them. It is with handwriting paper, there are so many options to choose from. Line thickness, white space, colors. The modifications are endless. What else should we consider that might impact the visual-spatial relationships in the classroom? Are we doing a chalkboard, a whiteboard, a blackboard? What kind of scissors, pencils, markers are we using? What kind of font is being used? And how does that impact the child? What do you see? What do you notice? Ask the child. Figure out what's causing them stress. The only time that they are going to bring anything to our attention is when their sensory motor inhibitors are going to create a maladaptive behavior, or if they've developed enough trust with us that they can overcome that feeling. Children are supposed to have fun in occupational therapy. We need to buffer that thing that's making them uncomfortable inside. We need to teach them those feelings of being uncomfortable and help stretch them so that they do not remain there, so that the fear doesn't consume them. Find out what that one thing is that you can work on to better address that uncomfortable feeling. Because if you can get over that, whether it's visual spatial, emotional, or whatever it is, if you can get over that, you're going to go a long way in helping a child overcome their handwriting problems. We need to teach these children about intuition and emotional memory. We need to alert them to that uncomfortable feeling. We need to teach them what it means. Remember, their limbic system is telling them fear. They're getting an amygdala hijack. We need to help them cognitively overtake whatever is going on in their amygdala hijack so that they can learn, they can verbalize, they can interpret that uncomfortable feeling, that overwhelm, that frustration, so that they can get into that just right position so that they can learn. So when I talk about this from a visual spatial relationships perspective, all I'm asking is, What do they see? What is it that they're noticing? Tell them, talk to them about what it is that they don't understand so that you can help them fix what they don't understand. How about this room? Let's look at it from a visual spatial perspective. Is it too busy? Could it be overwhelming for a student? How could we change these walls to help a teacher help a student learn better? How about this environment? Forget the auditory factors. How does the cafeteria impact the visual spatial relationships for your student? Can they find their way to the bathroom? How about their recess? How about back to their classroom or another classroom? What if they have to go to special immediately after cafeteria? Can they get there? Another question that I like to look at when I'm thinking about visual spatial relationships is, what does it look like? What does it look like to the student? Maybe this is a different way of asking the same question. You might get different results. But I want to emphasize is that you want to talk to your students. Get their perceptions. Before we design a treatment plan, it is crucial that we have their buy-in to what we're doing. A child who is fearful of anyone, a teacher, you, the whole idea of being in school, they are not going to find that just right position that they can effectively learn. They're not going to effectively communicate. We need to model for these students. We need to explicitly model the behavior. We need to explicitly teach them that uncomfortable feeling so that they can get over that fear that they just don't know what that means. In addition to what do you see and what do you notice, think about other questions that you may be able to ask your student to get to the bottom of their visual spatial understanding of what's in front of them. Make sure that you're able then to teach another adult in the IEP team what they're describing. Make sure that you can efficiently create a specially designed instruction for that student. Now, go ask your students. Go ask the adults on your team. What is it that they're struggling with? What do you see? What do you notice? What does it look like? This is Sherry Dutterer, your dysgraphia consultant. I'll see you in the next video.